Does everybody understand me quite well? Thanks. So my name is Maarten Keisers, and I work for a Japanese multinational called Fujitsu. We're there offering a lot of variety of different services and products out there, but that's not the reason why I'm here. So what I did is actually I invited one of our customers that is exactly going to explain what happened on a very bad day for them, and particularly that was on, sorry? Is it channel 4? Please put on channel 4 and then you can hear what he says. So I'll repeat it back again. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Maarten Keisers, and I'm part of the micro enterprises at Fujitsu. Now, the reason why I'm here today is not to talk about Fujitsu, because we've got a booth, so if you ever are interested, please come over to visit us. But what I did is actually I invited one of our customers to tell them they had actually a very bad day. And that date was January 2020, in full corona, when they had kind of a cyber attack. And I think it's a very nice story that Marc Colman is going to tell us today of what his experience and how he got his IT back alive in less than 2 weeks. Now, prior, I'm going to give Marc the words. I just want to mention a couple of the trends that we see as an MSSP in the market. So one of the trends we definitely see is that even today at the trade fair, you have seen probably a lot of XDR players, MDR players, NDR. So all these kind of flavors, they become kind of mainstream at the moment. That means that a lot of companies have already implemented that. And then now the challenge is to try to find these people, right? To manage it all. So I think that's a biggest challenge we all have to face. And that's where we're really jumping on it. Next to that, we see the rise of not only OT, but also IoT. Just to give you an example, I'm now building my second house, the first one I sold, of course. Now, with the first house, I had only my IT devices connected. But now in my new house, guess what? I got about 70 IPs only. Even the arcade of my son is now connected to the internet. So if you project that to a corporation, obviously it brings challenges. So at Fujitsu, we're eating our own dog food. You have even factories in Europe securing also our own systems. So we're definitely keen to share that practice, of course, with you. Now, another trend, which is definitely a challenge, is that a lot of customers come to us and they said, do we need to do we need to secure ourselves with an insurance for a cyber attack? Well, guess what? Nowadays, it gets very tough to insure yourself. You need to not only implement MFA, but very sophisticated solutions and services and procedure in order to get paid once you have a cyber attack. So there are other variants, like for example, go to an MSSP like ourselves and try to get, for example, a hotline when it gets bad. Just call us in and we send in the troops if it goes bad. Cloud is not new, okay? Cloud is definitely a topic of a concern. So what we see there is not the cloud problem as such, it's more that the IT is a bit behind. So in most of the cases, we see already the business pushing application to the cloud or even to web buckets, that hackers have also this information, and IT is definitely not aware. So this is a major challenge in terms of a security gap. And also a great topic that Nina Schrick presented us all today was a great presentation for those that has followed what she had to say. Generative AI, okay? Since December, everybody now knows what ChatGPT was. Early December, it was quite new. So being active as a cybersecurity enthusiast, we were already active creating exploits, polymorphic viruses out of there. But lucky for all of us, since the end of December, there is of course an ethical filter in it. That's a bit more difficult. But nevertheless, there are some security gaps to fill in, okay? Deep fake, okay? And I've put here a photo of a very nice movie, called a French movie called Le Masque, and it's actually pre-deep fake. But it's true, what Nina Schrick said today is like in 10 minutes time, you can create a very nice movie. So from your corporation, you take a photo of your CEO, okay? Put it into Midjourney, which is an application, AI application. Then create a YouTube script in ChatGPT, 4 or 3.5 version, and then launch it in tools like Synthesis AI or DID, what Nina did. So you use Revel, but in less than 10 minutes, you can make a realistic movie. And then send out a phishing mail, and guess what? 80% will really be trapped, you know, with this. So cyber awareness is definitely a key factor. Then to skip all over a couple of other things, I think a lot of corporations have already well developed their perimeter security. And so we need now see a lot of attention of customers that really want to know what's out there on the outside in, so the red circle, which I will explain a little bit later. Then other topics, of course, blockchain. If you look at blockchain as a DNA itself, it has all the features of what we say in cybersecurity called CIA, which is confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So we will see a lot of blockchain technology, ledger stuff that can be used to help customer being cybersecure. And last but not least, quantum computing. Like, of course, our colleagues of IBM, we are also fortunate to have this kind of computer power available. Now, guess what? I think in the next 5 years, also hackers will be able to lease this kind of computer power on the darknet and go ahead. Now, if you translate that to security operations, I would say, as I said, you know, the blue circle is well developed by customers. So everybody has already upgraded their antivirus, extra flavors on IAM, access management, etc. So it's like the comparison going back to the Middle Ages with the kings and the castles. So they all built the walls. Now guess what? In the Middle Ages, what happened is that the Chinese invented gunpowder, right? So now it's the same. You need to be smarter. These APTs are getting very sophisticated. So that's why there is a lot of attention going on right now in the red circle. Red teaming, and I see some of you very expertise in that particular field. So it's becoming much more important to do continuous scanning on that part. And last but not least, so whenever you have an attack, that's the reason why we're here. And we want to focus mainly on the recover phase, okay? That's what Marc's going to tell. But whenever you have a cyber attack, the best you can do is isolate those things that are infected into a red zone, bring stuff, the critical aspects to go back operational into an orange zone, okay? Definitely with pen testing to make sure it's back clean again, and then focus to rebuild a virtual data center ASAP. And that means in days, you need to build a new data center, okay? You need expertise to do that, so you definitely need partners to do that, okay? Now, last but not least, what can we do at Fujitsu? Even if you have the time, maybe for today is too late, for tomorrow as well, we offer you kind of free scans out of the box, okay? And following the Japanese tradition, we also offer you some Japanese food, if you, of course, fancy some Asian food. Now I will leave the word, of course, to Marc to explain a bit more what happened that doomsday on 13th of January 2020. Here you go, Marc.
I hope you can understand me. And I hope my English will be good because I'm a Dutch Flemish guy. So I will try to do my best so that everybody can understand me. So first slide I want to show, and I think that's really an important one. Ransomware attacks you have, it's a business. It's not the student who's sitting behind his PC anymore. It's really a business. It's a business with a business model to make money. Don't forget that, because that's a business that is growing fast. If you look, and that's numbers of 2021, $3 trillion. Huge number. Just to present myself, I'm the IT infrastructure manager for the Picanol Group, which is recently part of the Tessenderlo Group. We're one of the business units. I will not go into detail because that's you can all find on the internet. So I go a little bit further. But what do we do? And that's Picanol. In fact, we have 3 production plants. The biggest site is in Ypres, also the headquarters. We have a second site in Romania and a third site in China. In fact, we are 3 companies, 3 diverse companies. So the most famous one is Picanol with the weaving machines. But we also build electronics with our company Psycontrol. And we're also melting iron with Profero, which are all parts that we use in our weaving machines, but also in a lot of other market spaces. So if you look at the coffee machine, the small window which you see probably is made by us. Just think about it if you take next time a coffee. Some more numbers, I will not go into detail because you want to know the story, but I think what is important is ransomware. Why? Quite simple. It works, it's easy, it's untraceable, and it's protected. You earn your money with it if you put it on it. It's easy. Go on the web, search for hacking tools. You will find thousands of them for free. In 15 minutes, you're on the road. Also, what is important is there is an evolution also in the systems they're doing. Where before, people would just go hacking you, doing some ransomware, giving you some notification about it, ask you for some money, get you the keys, it's done. No, they go further at this moment. Before they encrypt your data, they will take it. And they will bring it into the market for the highest bidder. But also what they're going to do is they're going to take your contacts, your vendors and stuff like that to also try to hack those people. I'm talking about almost 4 weeks ago, a lot of our people got notification of emails from one of our vendors asking, can you pay this bill? We notified the vendor, you're probably hacked because we get too much emails from you, and he was very lucky that we saw that. So it happens in real lifetime. But okay, going back, 13th of January 2020, I will never forget the phone call of my system engineers at around 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Just for the side of the information, I was working for 6 months at the company. So I didn't find my way yet totally in it, but I got the phone call from my guy who said, Mark, we have a problem. It was not Houston, we have a problem, but Mark, we have a problem. And I say, yeah, what is it? I think you better come to the company. So what really happened in fact, almost 1 month and a half before. We don't know exactly what happened, but we're pretty sure that a phishing email, a response happened on a phishing email and somebody left some credentials. So we found those notifications. And with those things, they gained access, they did lateral movement, they gained more and more access. At the moment they got domain access. We see that lateral movement around December timeframe, mid of December timeframe. And then in fact, they were silent. They were silent until the end of the year, where we then suddenly saw PowerShell activities, distribution of PowerShell commands, but not in a PowerShell file, in just a text file. It was a random text file. They sent over to all the servers, then they executed the PowerShell commands into it, which makes the ransomware happen. And they were locking all our data. They did the one mistake. They're not 100% perfect neither, because while they're doing the ransomware, they also rebooted our host infrastructure because they had also access to it, which why they didn't could ransom everything because all the servers were down. I know at that time in the media, a lot of people were saying it comes from China. That was not true, but it was China who notified us. They were already working a couple of hours in front of us, and they say, oh, we'll lose your systems in Ypres. What is happening? And that's how we got to notify it. But very important, it's not on one day they do it. They really come in, they stay long in your system, they get off the radar, and then they attack. This was the message, which we could find on all our servers. I only skipped one word, is the much I wanted to pay. But this is really the message. And they are funny guys, because Andrew Miller and Brian Salgado are guys who talk a lot in Americas around cybersecurity. So they have some sense of fun. But it's typically, they say, send us a couple of files, we can prove that we are the guys who've done it, and so on and so on. I can guarantee you, we didn't pay. They didn't want to invest money into that type of business. We solved it ourselves. So exactly what happened. So on January 13th at around 1 o'clock, all virtual servers were rebooted in safe mode. Then that specific file, dmx.txt, was decrypted and executed as a PowerShell command, which then makes sure that all the virtual servers got ransomware. Some servers didn't. Everything above 2016 was not impacted because the activation of the PowerShell was not by default active, which is on the older servers. You can laugh at me, eh? You had still servers 2003, 2008, 2012. I think everybody in this room has those type of servers. So it's happening, it's real world. Then the PowerShell inject code in the memory, encrypting the files, and everything got well. Luckily, we did already a lot of network segmentation so that our test environment was not impacted and also our production environment was not impacted. Very important. That's the only thing who can save your life, backup. Our backup was not impacted. Also, our snapshots on our SAN devices were not impacted. And that's really key. If you really want to focus on your security, you can buy thousands of products, you can find them here all in the hall. But the first thing you need to make sure is make sure your backup is okay. We have a 3-tier strategy. So we take a backup locally in every data center. We replicate our backup to a central point. And then that device is taken automatically out of the network And then our third backup device comes in and take a backup of that replication data. Once that is done, it's cut off automatically from the network. It's your safe lifeline. If you don't have a backup, just think about it. Think about your processes. Think about your applications. How much time do you need to start from scratch? Okay? I can say we could restart everything in 2 days, but we didn't. I will explain why. The snapshots on our SAN storage were also not impacted, and they helped us in time, because restoring from a backup is slow, although it was on disks, but going from a snapshot is much faster. So also think in your storage strategy on snapshots and try to make sure that they cannot be impacted by a hacker. Okay, what did we do? So we found it. We also found the organization, Empire Monkey with Medusa Locker. That was the script they used. We shut down all the servers and we isolated. So as I said, we have 3 locations, Ypres, China, and Romania. We isolated, we cut them off. We even cut everything off the network, even cut everything off internet. And that we did for more than 8 months. You can say, can you run without internet? Yes, you can run a company without internet, without any problem. It works. So once we did that, we started to rebuild. To give you an example, it's around 300 servers we needed to rebuild, but also we tried to make sure that we patched them secured way and took a lot of security measurements. Measurements that needed to have been taken before, but as you know, there's always something that needs to be done, but something else comes in front of it. After a couple of days, because we ended also, as we didn't have internet access, there was no email possibility anymore. After around 4 days, we opened again email for 50 VIP mailboxes. Immediately, spear phishing attacks were happening. So don't think, and that's I think the most difficult exercise, it's not because you found the ransomware and you say, hey, we got them. You don't know what they did else. You don't know how they watched to you. You don't know what they still have into plan. Keep that in mind. Recovering is not, oh, I have my backup, I will restore it. I come up, bah, immediately they will attack you again. Don't forget, they were in your company for more than a month. They did a lot. Okay? What we also did is we enforced all users to reset the password, and we disabled all elevated accounts. And we re-enabled manually all elevated accounts that were really needed. If it was not needed, it was not enabled anymore. Because it's the elevated accounts hackers are using. Secondly, what we also did is we then gradually started up the production depending on what is important. And that's something you need to think about in front. Because you need to know what is my most important business process, and you need to know how you need to restart that. We, for example, our heating, our melt, needed to be restarted within 10 days. We didn't have control anymore, and we know we can leave it like that for 10 days, but after 10 days, the gases inside are so poisoned, something can happen, so we needed to take control back. And there we succeeded. And then we gradually started up again. But we kept the internet closed. Secondly, what we did, and I think that's really a message that I want to give to you, a person who wanted to receive email again needed to go to a 1-hour session on security. But that's one thing. Once they followed, they get email again. But that's not the only thing you can do. And that's a really important message. You need to do that once every 2 months. Not a 1-hour session, but small pieces. And also look at what's in the media. One of our companies in the neighborhood were attacked last year. We used that again to our people. Hey guys, you see our neighbor, he was attacked. Think about it. Think about emails you get. Think about phishing emails. Think about security. Because the difficulty in your process is really the thin line between security and make it workable. And that's one of my words I used a lot. What I used a lot, in fact, was say, never spoil a good crisis. A lot of people think, yeah, it's because you get a lot of money. It's easier. You can go to your management. At that moment, you get easier the money to buy your products. But more important is also take all your employees with it. Because at that moment you have a momentum that people know, hey, something really happened. It happened to our company. And you get them really with you, they will think with you, they will help you, and try to keep that momentum, which is really important, because at the end, you can buy thousands of products, they are your weakest point. It's only one guy who needs to apply to a phishing email, give his credentials, and they do some stuff. After that, we created a security roadmap. I don't have the time to go in full detail, but what I want to say, and I don't know if the slides will be published, you will get the details later on that, so I will not go. But one thing that we learned is, why were we hacked? We had security tools. We had antivirus products on our endpoints. We had firewalls. Everything was there. But was it correctly implemented? We tend as IT people to buy lots of products. And once we have them, we look at them, we invest some time in it, but we never explore them in total. My motto is buy less, but use it at the 100% of what the product can do. Invest in that. We built our security now really on 3 products. We have firewalls, we have our endpoint solution, and we have a network product that we use. But we really investigate in that, in all the both 3 of those products, more than 2 years investigation. My team of network and security is 3 people. I don't know how big your teams are, but if they are big, you're lucky. If you want to make them bigger, try to find the people. The only thing what you can do is automation. And that's why invest in your tools, build in automation. We invested 2 years in it. We block everything. Even if production goes down, we block. And then in the day hours when my team comes online, they see what has been blocked, and they then look if it's a false one or not one. It took us 2 years. We blocked, I think, 10 times production, but now everything is running very smoothly and steady. Am I secure? I don't know. But that's really what we're doing. And I think that's really important on that level. So if you want to take the 2 lessons out of it, minimize your set of tools, but make sure that you explore them deeply. Secondly, and I didn't talk about that, is create a dedicated security team. In most of the companies, it's part of a job. Hey, can you do security? Yeah, you know a little bit about it, do it. No, dedicate a team to it. That it is the first thing that they need to look at it. Because even though you have not a lot of systems, they give you a lot of information that needs to be looked at, that needs to be worked at. And third of all, make sure that your people are involved. Going from your blue collar to your white collar, whatever. They are all important people. And they are all people who are a potential exploit for a hacker. I think that's a little bit my message. As you can see, that was our roadmap, but I will go to that one. But I think really, this is the message I want to give to everybody. Think about this. I'm not telling it, I'm telling my truth, but I hope you get something out of it for your company. Because it's only all together that we can kill those hackers. Thank you very much.
Are there any questions still from the group? No? Then I would like to thank you for all the attention. Thanks. Have a nice day.